It was 11:43 p.m. when Sarah first heard the footsteps behind her. One step, then another, slow, even, close enough for her to notice. Sarah didn't turn around, not yet. She kept walking beneath the streetlights, her keys clenched between her fingers. She had walked this street hundreds of times. Tonight, somehow, it felt different. Sarah slowed down. The footsteps slowed too. She walked normally again. The footsteps followed. Then she stopped beside a closed pharmacy. Silence. Sarah stared at the dark glass window in front of her. She turned around. There was no one there. Just an empty sidewalk, a street light, a parked car, rain. Sarah exhaled and almost laughed at herself.
Get a grip,
she whispered. Sarah started walking again. 5 seconds later she heard them. Step, step, step. Someone was behind her again. Sarah decided to test him. At the next intersection, instead of continuing toward her apartment, she suddenly turned left. It wasn't the way home. The footsteps turned left too. Sarah crossed the street. The footsteps crossed too. She stopped beside a bus shelter. The footsteps stopped. For nearly 10 seconds there was nothing but rain. Sarah didn't move. Neither did the person behind her. Then she heard a quiet sound, a shoe scraping against the pavement. Her heart began to beat faster. Sarah pulled out her phone. Her fingers trembled slightly. She opened the camera. She didn't turn around. Instead, she raised the phone and used the front-facing camera. Sarah stared at the screen. A man, dark jacket, dark pants, standing beneath a streetlight, watching her. Sarah's breathing became shallow. Sarah put the phone away. She didn't run. Not yet. She started walking faster toward the convenience store 2 blocks away. The footsteps followed. She told herself not to run. Running would make it obvious that she was afraid. So she kept walking, faster. The footsteps became faster too. Sarah stopped beside the bus shelter. For nearly 10 seconds there was nothing but rain. She didn't move. Neither did the person behind her. Then she heard a quiet sound. A shoe scraping against the pavement. Sarah pulled out her phone again. Her fingers trembled slightly. She opened the camera. She still refused to turn around. Instead, she raised the phone and looked at the screen. Sarah stared at the screen. A man, dark jacket, dark pants, standing beneath a streetlight, watching her. Sarah's breathing became shallow. Sarah put the phone away. She didn't run. Not yet. She started walking faster toward the convenience store. The footsteps followed. She told herself not to run. Running would make it obvious that she was afraid. So she kept walking. Faster. The footsteps became faster too. Sarah reached the convenience store. She pushed through the glass doors. A bell rang. Ding. For the first time that night, she felt safe. The cashier looked up. Sarah walked straight toward the counter.
Can I stay here for a minute?
The cashier frowned.
Are you okay?
Sarah looked through the window. The sidewalk was empty. The man was gone.
I think someone was following me.
The cashier looked outside. Then he reached for the phone. The cashier locked the front door. Sarah stood behind the counter while he called the police. She tried calling her roommate. No answer. She called again. Still nothing. Then something caught Sarah's attention. A monitor behind the counter. 4 security camera feeds. Front entrance, parking lot, back alley, sidewalk. Sarah leaned closer. There he was. The man, walking behind her, exactly as she remembered. The cashier rewound the footage. Sarah watched carefully. Then he paused.
Wait.
Sarah looked at him.
What?
He pointed at the screen. The cashier rewound it again. Sarah stared at the screen. Something was wrong. The man wasn't following her. He was walking toward the store.
That can't be right. He was walking the same direction as me.
The cashier looked at the screen.
No,
He pointed again.
he wasn't.
Sarah stared at the man again. Then she noticed his jacket. She had seen it before. Not tonight. Earlier that evening. At her office. Before Sarah could say anything, the phone on the counter rang. The cashier answered.
Hello?
His expression changed. He looked directly at Sarah. The cashier held the phone toward her.
He asked for you.
Sarah froze.
What?
He asked for Sarah.
Sarah didn't touch the phone. Then a man's voice came through the receiver. Quiet. Calm. Almost a whisper.
Sarah,
She felt every muscle in her body tighten. The voice continued.
you shouldn't have stopped at the store.
Sarah stared at the cashier.
Who are you?
There was a long silence. Then the man said, "You need to go home." Sarah opened her mouth to answer, but the line went dead. She slowly lowered the phone. The cashier looked at her. Neither of them spoke. 7 minutes later, red and blue lights appeared outside. The police had arrived. Sarah watched 2 officers enter the store. For the first time that night, she thought she might actually be safe. Sarah told them everything: the footsteps, the man, the security footage, the phone call. One officer took notes, the other watched the surveillance monitor. After several minutes, the officer turned towards Sarah.
There's something you should know.
Sarah looked at him.
The camera footage doesn't match your story.
The officer pointed at the screen.
The man wasn't following you.
Sarah stared at the footage.
I know.
The officer looked at her.
Then why were you running from him?
The police offered to drive Sarah home. She accepted. The entire ride was silent. She kept looking through the rear window, but the street behind them remained empty. When they reached her apartment building, one officer walked her to the entrance. Sarah checked the hallway. Nothing. Her apartment door was locked. Everything looked normal. Sarah turned on the lights. The living room was empty. The kitchen was clean. She checked the bedroom. Nothing. The bathroom. Nothing. Finally, she began to relax. Then Sarah saw something on the kitchen table, a small white envelope. She stopped. She hadn't left it there. Her name was written across the front. Sarah. Sarah slowly approached the table. She picked up the envelope. Her hands were shaking. There was only one thing inside: a photograph. Sarah stared at the photograph. It was a picture of her. Walking home. Tonight. Taken from behind. The photograph had been taken only minutes earlier. Sarah looked toward the window. Across the street, another apartment building stood in darkness. One window was still lit, and someone was standing inside, watching her. Sarah's phone suddenly vibrated. A message from an unknown number appeared. "You finally noticed." Sarah stared at the screen. Then another message arrived. "Look at the photo again." Sarah looked at the photograph again. Then her phone vibrated one more time. The final message appeared. "Check your bedroom." Sarah froze. She didn't want to turn around. Sarah entered the bedroom. Everything looked normal. Then she noticed the closet door. It was slightly open. She knew she had closed it that morning. Sarah reached for the closet handle. She stopped. Something moved inside. Sarah stepped backward. Her phone slipped from her hand. Then a voice came from the darkness.
Sarah.
Sarah screamed and ran toward the front door. The closet opened. A woman stepped out. It was her roommate. Sarah stared at her.
What are you doing here?
Her roommate looked confused. "I've been trying to call you." Her roommate held up her phone. "I've been trying to call you." Sarah stared at the screen. There was another photograph. The same photograph. But this time something was different. Sarah's roommate was in the background. Sarah looked at her roommate.
You weren't supposed to be there.
Her roommate shook her head. "I wasn't." Sarah turned the photograph over. 4 words were written on the back. "I walked behind you." Sarah suddenly remembered something. On her walk home that night there had been 2 different sets of footsteps, one behind her and one ahead. She had only noticed the first. The next morning police reviewed every security camera along Sarah's route. They found the man. They found the woman. They found Sarah. But there was something they couldn't explain.